I'm a talkative person. Because I'm an SE dom, it's like my only world is the physical. My words are the only means of me getting out my meaning and intention. We'll see if I eat those words.
Should be entertaining others all the time.
This is exactly where I wanted to go with it. I would not deign to fist bump on a podcast where people can hear me. You guys ready to go?
Yeah, keen.
Welcome back to the Literally No Subtext podcast, everyone. Today is INTP day. We're going to be discussing the type that is the biggest enigma to me. And I am so excited to be bringing my my friend and fellow Myers-Briggs online personality colleague onto the channel, Eric Wen. Eric, how are you today?
Doing fantastic. Thanks so much for having me on.
Oh, no worries at all. It's about time it's happened. We've been talking about it for so long. Eric has been very helpful to me and my channel. He was the one who actually got me to start editing on my computer. He told me you got to make the switch from your phone to your computer because that is going to save you a lot of time, which you would have thought is common sense, but alas, it was not for me. So Eric has his own YouTube channel called Eric Wen. And he's also got, some of you might not know this, but he's also got a second channel, which he uploads quite frequently, called Think More Deeply. Eric, what is the difference between that and your main channel? What are you doing over on there that you're very excited about?
The second channel, Think More Deeply, it's a little bit more for the intermediate MBTI enthusiast. The main channel I try to make really accessible and beginner friendly for people who even might not know about functions or are hearing about functions for the first time, whereas on the second channel we talk a little bit more just in the lingo, assuming you know some things maybe about cognitive functions or you've heard about them before, or trying to see more real life examples of it. So the channel is really just trying to give more real examples, talk a little bit more about distinctions, but like in a more in-depth way. So like maybe NE versus SE, or like stereotypes people misunderstand about this function, or stuff like that.
Amazing. Well, we had a lot of questions because I said to my Instagram followers, submit questions for an INTP I've got coming on the channel who knows a lot about type and personality theory. We've got a lot of questions about comparing functions. So for those who asked those questions, might be good for you to head on over and subscribe to that channel. I did get around 70 questions from you guys, but we're not going to be able to answer all of them today, just in the interest of time. But I've selected around 30 questions. Hopefully we can get through them.
Whoa.
How are you at answering questions succinctly, would you say, Eric?
I don't know. I tend to really try to answer as accurately as possible, but I don't know if that means succinctly. But I'll try my best. I can try my best.
And it really will not help that I did not send you the questions beforehand. So you might notice a lot of cuts in this interview, because to cut out Eric's long pauses to make sure that he's saying things accurately. But I like to think you would have thought about a lot of the questions that I'm going to be asking you today. So Eric also has his own website called learn.ericwen.com. What are you doing over on there, Eric?
Yeah, so basically it's a membership. It's very similar to like a Patreon style community. You can unlock extra in-depth videos, exclusive videos where we maybe analyze dating shows, relationship dynamics, extra celebrity stuff. I show a little bit more behind the scenes nerdy stuff that I might not be able to talk about on the main channel, so maybe how I'm using AI to improve with feelers, or my secret personality database that I have behind the scenes that I'm tracking my progress on, or stuff like that. It's fun.
AI to improve with feelings. Is that what you said?
Yeah, basically trying to brainstorm ways to improve with emotional intelligence, or thinking about better ways to say things by using AI.
You type into the AI tool, how to validate my friend's feelings who is going through something hard in their workplace.
Yeah, or it's it's sort of like everyone says active listening, but that's like, what does that actually mean? You know, like, right? Like, let's go through some examples and like, so I really like maybe like giving it a specific scenario, and then like maybe I give it my best shot at, and then they're like, these are some ways you could improve, and I'm like, oh, that was better, that was really good. So stuff like
That's so bizarre to me, like, because that just comes so naturally to me, like active listening.
that. Yeah, it's your superpower.
I've actually had to rein it back in the podcast interviews because a few people said to me, Kristen, it's really hard to listen to the guest talking when you're just constantly on the other end going, So I literally had to like rein it back or like mute myself in those moments. And so dating shows, interesting. What got you into dating shows, Eric?
Kristen, you were the one. You were the one.
I was the one.
Like that got me, like, our reaction to Love is Blind season 2. I really went into that completely blind. I didn't even really watch those shows, but now it's like my favorite ritual every single year to react to the newest Love is Blind seasons and talk about the dynamics there.
I will never forget your reaction to the dating show when we first watched it. You're like, what is going on? I said, do these people just come and like talk about their feelings? Like, they just come onto this show and date? Like, you were so
They're gonna
confused.
get married? What?
I don't think that saga was either of our proudest moments, but those videos are available on my Patreon page, and I assume still on your membership page.
They're super fun. It was so fun filming with you. Now we do the process like a little bit differently. We like we're not trying to like speed type anyone, but it's more just like we spend a little bit more time with the analysis or do a little bit more focus on like side commentary about different relationship topics and stuff. But still.
You mean you don't just sit there and overtly judge people?
Usually by like the end of the season, we have like a guess about different people's types. It's super fun, but yeah, I don't know. I still think fondly back on that.
Yeah, it was such a fun saga, but I'm glad we only uploaded it to the Patreon because we were just sitting there just really I mostly was just rapidly typing people, which is something I wouldn't do now. But hey, we're all on a journey with type, and I'm really glad that happened. So
yeah, me too.
Anyway, so we might push on to some of the questions. What do you think is a common misconception about INTPs in the Myers-Briggs online space that you'd really like to correct or offer some nuance on?
I think people really don't realize just how much INTP personality types actually tend to really do, like they actually do care about connecting with people and having friends or having their close friends, a circle, you know, whatever, or like they actually care about connecting with people a lot more than you might think. It might be a stress point for them. It might be something they're very angsty about, but in terms of like actually wanting to connect deeper or have like a best friend that you can, you know, go deeper with. I found actually INTPs tend to really think about that type of stuff a lot. And it's also the reason why you'll usually actually see a lot of INTPs having these like tragic stories about like, I was friends with this person, or I had a crush on this person, or I was in this friend group or something and something went wrong and I don't really know what, it's like the INTPs, even though as much as they might be thinkers and logical and like doing their own thing, they actually do tend to care about connecting a lot more than you might.
It's almost like you guys are human.
Yeah, I know. I think that's very, like, it's really not talked enough about the, like, yeah. No, I agree.
And we had a lot of questions about how does inferior FE play out in an INTP. So first I'll ask, what does it mean to have inferior FE? Like, how does that play out in your life? And what are the struggles, I guess?
Well, to have inferior FE is basically like, because the introverted thinking is the strongest preference, so it's really trying to sort of filter out other people's reasons for doing things to try to check in and think for yourself about what makes sense to you and what like seems reasonable to you from your own personal perspective. But what that means is that making decisions that are a little bit more focused on maybe like outside values or feelings or how it's going to make people feel, like prioritizing things based on that, it seems a little bit like stressful or uncomfortable or like doesn't quite make sense, or it takes a lot of extra effort thinking things through in that way. I think it can look like a lot of different things. It can look like really, as I said, overthinking connecting with people, maybe wanting to connect a lot, but not realizing maybe how you come across to other people or how you can like facilitate those connections a little bit easier. Overthinking social connections or overthinking how to facilitate that. It can come across into sometimes like really being clear on what you think about things, but then not knowing how to make like having this clash between like you gotta also like fit in and like get along with other people, and it's like how do you like adjust to that without like just doing a whole bunch of things that don't make sense, or that like pretending to care about things that you don't actually care about. I don't know. It connects to the emotional intelligence stuff sometimes. It's like I know how to say what I think about things, but in terms of translating this into something that can make sure that the other person is feeling good and comfortable and like supported, there's like a translation process that can be sort of like stressful or sometimes like skipped over. Like, why can't I just tell you what I actually think? As well, what I'm learning a lot now is also like that stuff about like not just understanding people. I've found that sometimes my whole channel is like trying to figure out people by like analyzing, but actually going outside of yourself to not just like analyze and figure out people from a thinky way, but actually learning better ways to facilitate that connection, contribute outside, be more aware of how you're coming across emotionally. That's usually like, again, like takes some extra effort.
So do you find that the relationships in your life, the ones that uplift you and give you energy, are those ones where you can just brazenly say what you think without worrying about those filters and they understand that about you?
Yeah, I think, I mean, of course, I think that, right, in any relationship, it helps when you're given some space to be you and permission to, or some understanding that maybe that's the way that you like sort of problem solving or thinking things through. That being said, though, I think people sometimes get a little bit carried away with the idea of, I should just be allowed to be me. Because it's like, so I should just be allowed to be insensitive? Like, I should just be allowed to be, that only gets you so far, right? There's a certain point where as much as you should have some self-acceptance about, yeah, maybe you're a thinker, maybe this is how you like approaching things. At the same time, if you're in a relationship or a friendship with someone that you really care about and you see how they're being hurt or impacted by what you're saying, it doesn't make sense to be like, well, this is just how I am. It also makes sense to be like, maybe thinking about how you could get better at that or improve with that over time, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure.
And hopefully, I think actually what's most important is to maybe be around people that understand that maybe that's a little bit of a trouble spot for you and that give you some grace as you're like figuring it out or like trying to improve with that.
Yeah. Love it. This is a question that I was asked, that you were asked multiple times, and I personally don't like answering this question, but I thought I would ask it. What personality types do you find most intriguing / to be a best match for you, if any?
With time, I think I'm actually a pretty strong proponent. It goes against a lot of people, but I actually think like all personality type combinations, like 95% of them actually can work or have really special things about them. So I actually don't really believe in that like these personality type combos work better than others. Even the ones that people put on a pedestal, like whatever, like INFJ and INTP or something. If you really get to know those wirings, it's like, yeah, there are some amazing ways that those personality types can connect, but also some very specific ways that those personality types can drive each other crazy. And if you do the math or whatever for every combination, it's the same every single time. So I don't really really believe in like special what's it, like golden pairs or whatever. But I do find I usually am like inspired by sometimes like SE types or like TE types. Sometimes like when I look at how they go about things, I'm not necessarily even saying for a relationship. I'm just saying like whenever I see their superpowers on display, I'm like, dang, that is really, really cool. Or that would really help me in a lot of like life situations, to be a little bit more open to that or engaging like that.
Yeah, it kind of goes hand in hand with that, with the first with that answer you gave to the previous question of like, well, you should be allowed, like you shouldn't be like, I should be brazenly myself at all times in consideration to other people's feelings. And I think the journey of being a good person is extending grace, as you said. And so like, yeah, I'm totally on the same page with you when it comes to type compatibility. Like if you're trying to be a good person and you're going outside yourself and extending grace, like there's no such thing as like golden pairings. But the types can reveal, as you said, issues that they might particularly have or connection points that they might particularly have that they wouldn't have with other types. But like no type has more or less than the other, like in terms of potentiality, is my belief.
Yeah, no, I basically, yeah, like every personality type combo has the capacity to really connect in some really special ways and drive each other crazy in special ways. So don't get me wrong, it's not like every combination is exactly the same, but yeah, there's unique quirks with every single one, but yeah.
100%. So you've mentioned the word superpowers a few times, which is a word that you use a lot on your channel. What would you say, how would you describe the INTP superpowers of, I guess, TI and NE? If that's what you would refer to as superpowers?
I guess. I think the reason I say those things is just because I think sometimes people don't realize the things that they bring to the table, or things that are a shoulder shrug to them might be a real gift to other people. And so framing it like that, I found is sort of interesting or accessible. For sometimes with your own personality superpowers, you don't really notice that you're doing them. So it might be a little tricky for me to describe it, but it's basically just like, I think the gift of TI is sometimes just thinking for yourself, like trying to think things through for yourself and seeing if it makes sense to you, and giving yourself some permission to go like, that doesn't actually make sense to me. And for my own reasons, I'm going to prioritize what makes sense to me. And then with NE, it's just exploring possibilities, getting really curious about different, like going outside, seeing lots of different, like just questions popping up in your head or possibilities, and wanting to explore that, even if it seems sort of unexpected or taking things in a different direction. And then as all of my answers to my questions are going to be, just like connecting different things and like finding different like learnings or fun, I don't know, takeaways.
What are my superpowers, Eric?
What are your superpowers? I mean, I think just even if I didn't know anything about personality type stuff, you always bring the energy. You really bring a lot of kindness to your interactions just as a person. I think you're very like non-judgmental, which I really like. And I also really like how EP personality types can sort of like just play around sometimes, or like interact in a way that's like not overthinking a bunch of things that maybe I would overthink, and how that's fun. Like, yeah. And also I really like in your explanations and talks about things too, like the clarity that sometimes I think sensing types can bring to the table. The examples, actually making things practical and clear, I think is like the ways that you can like highlight that information, I think is really cool.
Well, yeah, we learn through examples. I can't learn anything unless I've seen an example. I can't process it unless I've brought it into a tangible reality somehow.
Yeah.
But yeah, that so rings true about my personality type. Like even today, for context, people listening, I'm 38 weeks pregnant at the moment, so I'm technically full term. This baby could come at any point. Today, I was, spending my morning being like, how am I going to get my energy up to interview Eric?
Aww.
And then the moment we come on camera, I'm like, what is that? It just comes. It just naturally comes when there's someone else in the space with me. I don't know. It's just a natural thing that I do. And it's not faked. It's not put on. It's just like being around people, the energy just elevates. I was with my husband the other day and we went to church, and I was in church and I just was like in so much pain. I was like lying down on the pews. I couldn't stand up. And we had a plan to go to a friend's surprise birthday party afterwards. And Andrew, my husband, said he had accepted halfway through the service. He was like, we're not going to this party. Like, she is way too in pain, way too tired. We left the mass, and then he's like, should we go straight home? I was like, no, we said we'd go to this party. These people mean so much to me. Like, it's okay, we'll just stay for like 20 minutes to 30 minutes. So anyway, we go to the party. He couldn't find parking, so he dropped me off like close to the door and then went to find parking. Like, I walk in that door, I just see like 6 faces turn towards me and go, Kristen, and I'm like, hey everyone. And then he comes in like 20 minutes later, and I'm like peak energy. I'm like standing up. I'm like asking if anyone wants a drink or anything.
Really?
And he's like, what has happened? And that's just being around people, not just being around people, but like the vibe. We're in, a bar, and also just seeing how much people loved to see me there, and just feeling so loved in that moment, but just being so energized by my friends.
Wow.
And he's like, how did that transition happen? So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that rings completely true of it's a little fun anecdote, but just rings true of your superpower diagnosis there, I guess. And I mean, this is another question that was going to come up later, but I guess I'll ask it now. Do you how do you think do you believe that there is a role for the shadow functions and that there is a specific way in which they play out, or is that something you don't really go into or explore too much?
So I think that technically everyone can do all preferences, right? But they're preferences for a reason. And you can't really change things that are not your preference to be your preference so easily. I don't think that I think that you can approximate sometimes some other functions, but I don't think that that's very useful to focus on or to think about. I think a lot of times people like bend over backwards saying like, oh, I'm really great at FE and TE, stuff like that, but not realizing maybe sometimes they're misunderstanding something about one of those functions. Sorry, being more clear. I have this thing where like usually your 4 functions, your main functions already cover the bases that those other shadow functions would have. And so I think a lot of times, right, MBTI is actually about personal growth and development. So sometimes it's actually most helpful to just focus on the functions you actually have and use versus getting really complex about the other ones. Now, don't get me wrong, I have, there are interesting topics about how the shadow functions might show up or be useful, but it's really more advanced, and I don't think it's that helpful for most people.
100%. And I think, I think we can actually kind of like simulate the behavior that certain other functions, like shadow functions, would present. like people have told me I'm really good at FE, but like it's all about like what your actual natural preference is. Like I would not care about group harmony if there was a value of mine at stake in like a debate or a discussion, and I've got absolutely ruthless about that sometimes.
Well,
but I can switch on the behavior of FE.
Exactly. I really like how you said like sort of simulate the behavior, because that's actually what I think it's a little bit more close to. When people see like FE from you, if they actually got to know you and understood what the functions were, they would realize it's not actually FE. It's actually SE, FI, and TE all working together. And because of how those specific functions like interplay, it's going to make like FE behavior more easy to access, or like easier to like emulate or relate to, or something like that.
Yeah.
I sometimes like using the analogy of like colors. Like maybe you have like certain colors in your function stack, but based on what those colors are, sometimes they can like mix together to like pretend to be another color, even though it's not actually that color.
100%. It's not the actual preference that you're using. I thought of that question because you described your superpower as like thinking for yourself, TI. And I just think, obviously TI is my polar function or my blind spot function in the shadows model. And I really think sometimes I cannot think for myself. And then sometimes I do think I'm thinking for myself. But like I had a moral dilemma like a couple of weekends ago, and I could not work out what I thought about it without externally processing it to people. I needed to get people around me to bounce off. I need to hear other people's thoughts. I need to hear other people's perspectives to work out what I think about something. I know how I feel about it, but to reach a rational conclusion, I'm like, I just can't make sense of this thing by myself. I need external people to like feed me their perspectives and thoughts. Is that something you could say is like is it my TE at play? Like needing sort of like to bounce off in that external space, or would that be like a blind spot TI thing?
It's SE, FI, and TE. It's not actually. The reason blind spot 7th is not actually because you can't do it. It's more that there's like all these other tools in your toolkit that you would reach for like first, and like in 99 out of 100 times. Why would you use TI if you could use FI and TE? Right? Why? When you already have got feeling and thinking mixing together, it's really useful, and you can see other people's reasons. You can adapt it all together. You know your own personal values and convictions. Why would you need to like question and sift through everything in a detached way when you could sift through and filter through things in a emotion, like aligning it with your personal values? Like, why would you do that?
But I'm also incapable of doing that. It's impossible for me to detach my values.
Exactly. So exactly. It's like, so it's not, I think it's actually really unfair when people say stuff like, especially actually about like blind spot TI, they make it sound like that means that you can't be logical or you can't be like smart or intelligent, when that's really like not at all what that's saying at all. It's more just going like this specific way of going about things, you would probably prefer like all these other ways of doing it because of your personality. You would actually prefer doing that same thing but like in this other unique way.
Yeah, 100%. And it's unique gifts. It's a unique gift that Dom SEs have. But I guess that's why we have the stereotype of being like the airheaded or stupid ones, but not
That's
true.
Really
not true. Darn it, guys.
I've actually sometimes found like sometimes EFPs, they can bring the truth bombs way more than what I would say, or really be really practical about like no, how are we actually going to do this? Wait, what's the goal? How are we actually 100%. Going to do it? So they're very smart and logical.
All types are capable of everything if they set their mind to it, guys. It's just we all have natural tendencies and preferences. Okay, next question. Debunk a bad take on MBTI you have heard recently or frequently.
That's a little hard because they're just like everywhere.
Just one. Pick one.
I think it's like anything related to like these types are horrible or dumb or mean or shallow. I mean, it's the obvious ones like censors are shallow or not smart and stuff. And I think that's just so unfair. If again, it's all a lot of these things that people say. It's like people having this theory or framework to put people into boxes, not realizing that one, the purpose of MBTI is actually to learn about yourself and appreciate and connect better with other people. But two, if you actually like talked with people in real life instead of just like theorizing about people in your head, you would realize like, oh, everything I'm saying is completely wrong, about sensing types or whatever, like TE types being mean or I don't know, like lots of different things. Thinkers having no feelings or stuff like that.
Yeah, good answer. Next question. I feel like I've never met an INTP, but I think I just have trouble recognizing you guys. Any tips? Or are you just all in your hiding out in your bedrooms playing video games?
I think they're probably, going to be, again, the thing with INTPs is they're probably doing their own thing. So that might be having a different friend group or different interests that they're just sort of following their curiosities. And so, I don't know. They can be sort of hard to spot. Because the thing is that the doing your own thing or the like pushing it back against groupthink, it's not like they're like, like protesting outside. It's more just in their head going like, I don't really like this. Like I'm gonna dip, So it can be, it's not always like showing up externally. But maybe finding like spaces that are a little bit maybe nerdy on the nerdy or random side and finding those little pockets where the NPs might have fun exploring and nerding out about things. Maybe it could increase your odds a little bit.
Do you have siblings, and what are their personality types?
I have 3 siblings, 3 younger siblings, and I have permission to share their types. So there's ESFP, an ISTP, and an INFJ. Lots of interesting stuff there. Yeah.
Lots of interesting stuff there.
Mm-hmm. Especially like growing up, my brother and I, that we were clashing all the time.
ISTP?
ESFP.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's lots of different things where we would be like, why are you doing, why are you doing that? What's wrong
100%.
with you? And same towards me. What's wrong with you?
For sure.
Yep. But actually, over time, we've gotten like really close and, just actually more realizing that he had all these superpowers that I just wasn't noticing, and then like vice versa. And so like
interestingly,
that as a bonding.
Yeah, that's similar to me with my ENTP brother. Same, ENTP, not INTP, but like same functions, and I'm an ESFP. Of all the siblings, we were the ones who I think didn't understand each other the most and were the most frustrated by each other.
I actually
but
think
now we've
ENTP and ESFP can sometimes like clash more than ESFP and INTP.
Well, yeah, even just for the fact that ENTP is an extrovert, so like they're extroverting, they're just more likely to be more abrasive, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely found that at play in our childhoods. It was just this constant loop of like me getting offended and thinking he was insensitive and him just thinking I was way too emotional, basically. But we have a great relationship now, of course. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Just this question, how do you deal with feelings?
I mean, my natural tendency is just to try to like almost like analyze them and like go like, why am I feeling this way, and analyze the reasons why I'm feeling those ways, and then like try to figure out if that makes sense or not. And then if it doesn't, then I think about why, and then it just keeps going down the trail. And that's sort of my way of processing the feelings or making sense of them. But actually, and that's gotten me pretty far, but now as I've gotten older, I've actually started realizing I have a lot more feelings than I thought, and that I'm not processing. So finding ways to be more aware of how maybe I am emotionally impacted by things, and instead of just like trying to analyze it, do a different strategy or approach, like feel it, or not feel it, that sounds sort of weird, but it's literally just understanding that there is an emotional impact that sometimes you need to like be aware of or take care of. Because what happens if you just try to, what I found is what happens sometimes if you just try to like analyze and reason out your feelings and put them into little categories, is that sometimes like the actual feeling can get a little bit like not actually be fully processed or come out later in some other ways, you know, like frustration or like resentment or something like that, or like literally just like emotions like, why are you doing that, you know. And so finding ways to be more aware of the emotional side of things can help me take care of people better.
If I asked you, how are you feeling right now, would you be able to answer? And how many feelings would you be able to identify, do you think?
I mean, I feel comfortable. I feel excited to be talking with you. I feel like that's pretty much it.
That's great.
I found like you see with usually like TI types, like it's not that they don't have feelings, but they like label them in these like very like broad, like it's like I'm feeling happy, you know. It's like not a very nuanced like
feeling. For sure. And I noticed both those feelings you named had to do with the external environment. Like you're comfortable and excited based on what's happening externally, like this interview.
That's
if you ask me those feelings, if you asked me that question, I would just naturally probably be able to identify at least 5 different feelings about how I'm feeling about my life, like in my personal situations right now.
Yeah, I didn't notice that until you said it, but yeah, actually talking about inside feelings, nah, it just doesn't feel, it's like not top of mind at all. I'd have to really...
Wow.
No. Yeah. It just doesn't feel useful. I don't know.
Useful. That's so funny. I can identify feelings, but not because they're useful, just because they are. That's my existence. That's how it is. I know how I'm feeling at all times of the day about anything going on in my life. You know.
For the podcast listeners, you can see my face just sort of like, that's just interesting.
Eric's face.
It's not like
with this entire question. It's been like,
Again, it's not, it's like, I definitely have feelings, but again, actually using them to like, do they feel relevant to like make a decision or anything like that? It just, that's what I mean by, it just doesn't feel
And unless they're useful or relevant, you just don't know they're there, or you just don't.
I don't know. Are they there?
Yes, I mean, what? Yes, they're always... Well, maybe not. This is so fascinating about personality type differences. For me, they're always there.
Yeah, I mean, I will say the ways that it is much easier to identify my feelings are when it comes to other people's feelings, or how I feel connected with them, or how I'm like so happy to be with them, or how I just like love hanging out with them. I'm having so much fun. Like that type of stuff will come way easier, like 10 times easier than identifying like how I feel about things. Like I feel so grateful to be with this person. I feel so happy to, you know, like I loved bonding with this person, you know, all that type of stuff. It's like way easier for me to talk about feelings.
That's so fascinating. Mine would be the opposite. It'd be like, I feel apprehensive about, you know, these things about having a child. I feel nervous about this current situation in my life. I feel loved that the barista at the cafe this morning remembered my name. Like, I feel,
Whoa.
you know, like, so many feelings happening at once, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's fascinating, like mind-boggling to hear the other perspective, like the opposite take on it. But there we go. How do we effectively translate cognitive functions into behaviours to type a person accurately?
Well, that's the thing. You don't do that. you don't try to analyze behaviors. You really try to get to know someone and see how they're what's behind their decision. You know, how are they going about things, and also really trying to. So something that Z and I, my colleague and I, teach a lot is we actually emphasize people spending more time with the letters before they jump to functions. Sort of the analogy of like, you got to learn the basic grammar before jumping to doing all these like crazy tenses and all these different things when learning a language. So I think actually the ways to be more accurate with your typing is to spend more time with someone, get to know them better, and then learn the framework more for yourself. And the best way to learn the framework for yourself is actually to spend more time with the letters. So sometimes instead of going like, is this TI or FI? Maybe just going, let me get to know thinking versus feeling. And then maybe that could help clarify the decision, or like clarify things a little bit better.
That's actually relevant to another question I saw on here. I don't know if I'm an INFP or an INTP. What's the difference between the two, or TI and FI?
Well, honestly, I think if they just like replayed that section earlier about feelings, that would be a clue.
Literally, that's so true. You will know if you're an F or a T based on that, let me tell you.
Yeah. I think, again, there are definitely lots of similarities between the two, but just focusing on that thinking versus feeling, if you look at like, even just thinking about thinkers versus feelers. With thinkers, they sometimes need to be reminded about the feelings, or reminded to factor in feelings when they're problem solving or making decisions. Whereas with feelers, sometimes they need to remind themselves to be a little bit more detached or objective about things. It's, again, both types can do both, think and feel. But what do you sometimes forget? What do you sometimes need reminding of? That could be a clue.
One of my biggest growth points, and something I still struggle with, is learning to add that filter of, okay, the feeling is not the truth. It's not the only reality. It's not indicative of how the facts of things are. The feeling is not everything. You have to choose to realize that the feeling is just a thing hitting you at the moment, and there are other perspectives and other facts you're not considering because of this feeling. I spent so long being completely blinded by my feelings, but it's been such a journey of being like, okay, the feeling is just a feeling. How do we get to the facts of this situation? Like, it's like mostly just like, okay, allow yourself to feel the feeling, you know, and then your feelings will eventually catch up to like the truth of the matter. But the feelings feel like the only reality until they've passed. And so, yeah. Now, if you're a TI user, you will not relate to what I've just said at all.
Yeah, I love how, like, this is such a great example of how also, like, when you hear someone talking about their non-preference, you can see, like, it's like usually something you're like, I've been really working on this, or I've been really trying to put more effort into this. And it's like this thing that you like usually talk about, or like there's like literally like effort that you, like you've gone through a journey or whatever with that thing. And so like even in this podcast, right, you can hear me talking a lot about people and feelings and like how that's sort of a thing I'm always trying to figure out. But for you, it's like, whatever.
Yeah. And it takes a great deal of humility to be like, because when those feelings hit, I'm like, this is reality. This is what is the truth. And I'll say to people, no, but this, very clearly this. And they're like, no, not very clearly that, actually. You're not seeing this reality, or you're not seeing this perspective or this thing. And it takes humility to be like, my entirely perceived reality, which a lot of the time is like a feeling that's telling you your feeling is 100% the reality, 100% the truth, acknowledging that it isn't, and being open to realizing that you're too emotional right now. And emotion's good, but like you need them to pass if you're going to act in a way that's like got the best interests of everyone around you. So yeah, so it takes humility to realize that those blind spots are there, but that's when the best growth can happen. Even though we have different functions, I'm an ENTJ, I've always gotten along great with INTPs, and I've heard other MBTI creators say ENTJs and INTPs can work well together. Would you agree with that statement? Why or why not? What's been your journey with ENTJs?
ENTJs, some of my close friends are ENTJs, and there's often like this sort of like we just sort of get each other vibe from like when we're sort of going back and forth. It's the thinking dominant and the intuitive, the NT thing. You can just sort of go back and forth. I think that as much, like, again, like so many fun things about those two types together, because also like maybe you're like dreaming together, you're like being sort of ambitious and problem solving, or able to be sort of like honest and direct about things together. That being said, if I was like actually a part of an ENTJ's plans, I would be really tired out. I would be like, or I would be very like, do we really need to be taking this gamble? Like, is this really, this is a lot of effort. This is a lot of people that we're getting involved into this situation. That's sort of stressing me out. If I wasn't involved with the projects, that could be great. But if I was involved with the project, I think I would have like a way different reaction.
Yeah, fair enough. Along the same lines, we've got someone asking, as an ESFP, how can I connect emotionally with my INTP brother? This is so
that's so cute.
relevant to what we were just talking about.
It's funny.
Before.
I've actually found I have so many close ESFP friends in my life. Like I just really get along with them great. I think
specifically, how can I connect emotionally? But maybe that's not the way.
Interesting.
That they're gonna feel valued to be connected with.
Yeah. I mean, maybe going for an FE thing could help. Like just like quality time, actually talking about interesting things together, going a little more personal with things could be helpful. It's sort of like figuring out, right, what the other person might be interested in talking with. So maybe for an ESFP, maybe an experience where you're doing it together but not actually talking could be really energizing. But maybe for an INTP, they might actually enjoy the experience but actually want to like have that like one-on-one time or talking about interesting theories or different things that they've got. So, and that might get them more like emotionally excited or feeling like a bond. So giving a little bit more space and room for not just like physically exploring something, but actually like creating a space to just go a little deeper and maybe explore some ideas could open up a feelings connection. I think also like recognizing that sometimes an INTP might be saying things that really feel like too detached or like really insensitive or like what's wrong with you, but just maybe spending some time getting to know where that's coming from. Like recently I had this thing where I told my brother, like I sort of caused a little bit of a friction point with my family because I was like getting really confused by what was going on and a whole bunch of things that didn't make sense, and I was being a little disagreeable. And later my brother just like kept getting mad at me, like, why would you do that? That was messed up, blah, 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 all these different things. And I explained to him, I was like, well, for me, actually sometimes like inconsistencies are like really like, there's something that they're sort of triggering for me. And like, I try to figure them out. And that was sort of what was going on, was like I was trying to process it, and the inconsistency was really throwing me off, and I was trying to adapt to that in the moment. And he was like, oh, inconsistencies are triggering for you. That makes a lot of sense. I didn't realize that is what you were doing. I didn't realize that that's what that was. I thought you were just being like disagreeable for no reason,
Fascinating. Logical inconsistencies, specifically.
Yeah. Or like, why are people doing that? Does that make sense? That doesn't add up with what this other person said they wanted or are doing, stuff like that.
Oh, okay, fair enough. As an INTP, how do you stick to one idea and stay persistent and passionate about it?
Oh. Honestly, like, I change my ideas like all the time, so I don't really know if that works, but I will say that it is helpful to take some risks to explore a path that maybe lets you explore, that maybe lets you carve your own path a little bit, because then you can be building something bigger picture that you really care about or that you are long-term excited about, but like along the way be mixing it up a lot. So like in my case, like I used to actually be on the pre-med path. I graduated with a pre-med degree and all that sort of stuff, but I had to give myself permission to be a videographer. Like many years later after that, to try doing YouTube seriously, or try do it many years from that, personality type teaching. Those are all things where like, because I was following what made sense to me, I could stick with it. But like, if you actually zoom out, I'm changing all the time, and YouTube is what I love about YouTube is like, I can be like sort of adapting and changing or throwing out different ideas all the time. So basically, I pick something that lets you have some freedom to explore, but that might be a little bit, you got to take some risks to make that actually happen.
What are some challenges you face or think you have faced as an INTP?
I like how it says, think you have faced. Maybe you're just like perceiving it as a challenge. I think like the figuring out the people and connecting with people, or just sort of like relationships or friend groups and stuff, is usually as like, I have a lot of like sort of sob stories on that front. I don't know how to explain that clearly, but yeah, it's basically just like figuring out the people and feelings thing and making some mistakes along the way, right? It's like, oh, I love being connected with this person, but they're actually like a horrible fit for me, or like not the best person. Or I love, maybe like, I've been a lone wolf for so long, it feels so great to be a part of this friend group, and then realizing that those friends are actually like not the best friends, and or maybe being in a relationship and really trying to make it work, but then like the other person has issues and not understanding, like, wait, what? Like I love being connected with you, so why, stuff like that. Like there's some just clumsiness sometimes with wanting to connect with people, but then like people not making sense, or like doing things that throw you off, basically.
I just want to apologise, as all of the trucks in Sydney have decided to drive past my window today. I don't know if you've heard that.
No, I haven't heard it at all.
Oh, wow, that's good. That's a good sign. It's so loud to me. Now, is it because it hasn't been detectable to you, or is it just because you're an INTP and you don't notice sensory things? Okay, what are some visible differences that you have noticed in the INTP versus the INTJ?
Whoa, that's an interesting one. Mm-hmm. I actually think that FE is a really big difference between the two.
I agree.
Like, if you want to figure out the difference, that's a really good way. You will hear INTPs actually really having this side of them that does sort of turn on the feelings, or like sort of talking about connecting with people, wanting, this whole podcast I've been talking about that. INTJs really don't tend to prioritize things that way.
They don't factor that in at all.
Or express feelings like that at all. And So yeah, that's like a huge difference. And
Huge. You actually used the word insensitive earlier when talking about something like FE and how like it can make INTP seem insensitive. And I was just pondering that. I was like, I would never use the word insensitive to describe INTPs, but I would use it for the INTJs in my life. Not that that's a bad thing, but like, yeah, the feelings of the people in the room or the emotional dynamic or vibe is just something that is so far off their radar.
Yeah, I've found that that's like one of the biggest differences. Even just like giving social feedback, sometimes with the INTJs, sometimes I'll be like doing a teaching session or something, and I'll be like, in my head, I'm like, are you enjoying the experience? Because like, there's like no, like you seem angry like the whole time.
Yeah.
And then like if you
change.
talk with, and then I get the review after, oh my gosh, it was amazing, I loved the session. I was like, really? It seemed like you were not having a good time. Like that, like giving a feeling outside is really just not prioritized sometimes.
That's so true. That lack of giving face can be so intimidating when talking to an INTJ. Yeah, for sure. How do you feel about SE?
I think SE.
Feel, no? Not I think. How do you feel?
I think, I mean, I'm often like really inspired by it. I don't think I fully tap into it, or if I do, it's like for a couple seconds. So I don't actually think I'm tapping into it, but when I really get to know it and appreciate it and watch it, I think that's really cool. The ability to just take in everything around in a more immersive way. Like for me, with introverted sensing, I'm sort of like picking out like little specific things that I want to take away. Oh, this is interesting to me. Oh, this is interesting to me. But for them, just like moving through an experience and taking it all in is really cool. Or the ways that they talk about like sensing the energy and vibe of the environment or the moment. That's like a very foreign concept to me. And I've been like sometimes like sort of appreciating that, or going, oh yeah, the energy is really cool here, or that is something to sort of like take in and feed off of or contribute to. I think there was my brother in ESFP told me like sometimes someone's body language is actually telling me more about them, or like they're actually talking to me more through their body language. And I actually think that matters more than the words that they're saying out of their mouth. And that was another like foreign concept to me, because so I think that there's so many cool things about the ability to like a little bit of a tendency to actually just like interact physically, like instead of just trying to figure things out in a like mental pattern way, actually just like, no, like do it, try it, like interact with it, like move with it, whatever. That's like, there's some moments that's really actually really cool.
That's so interesting, the body language thing, because body language is like one of my biggest tells of how someone's feeling. And I've noticed that when I talk to people, even other F types who aren't necessarily using SE or whatever.
Yeah.
And they won't have naturally prioritized looking at people's body language or noticed things that I will have noticed. So that's interesting that you put your finger on that. This is an interesting question. How would you let your crush know that you're interested in them?
Oh man, that's like I've gotten better at it over time, but I do think actually like I've had like a long saga of like that friend zone stuff, and that was like driving me crazy for a really long time. It's because I would just like really be avoidant of actually expressing the feelings for a really long time. Now I've learned that it's really useful and valuable to just take that jump and express things more clearly, or to be able to read the dynamics a little bit better to express the feelings. But that took like a lot of practice and examples. It actually took a lot of people like literally being like, no, I liked you back here. And I was like, really? It wasn't clear, blah, blah, blah. So realizing more examples of people that actually did have feelings or liked me earlier, or all these different things. Like, and from my perspective, I had no idea, or I just thought that that couldn't be possible, or why aren't they saying it? So once I got that confirmation that that actually is possible, or like is actually happening, that also like really helped me for having a little more confidence to be more clear with the other person. I got, sorry, lots of tangents, or lots of stories, but a while ago, I became friends with like this social skills and relationship coach, and I went on this like dating reality show. And anyways, the main thing that he taught me was about
what?
the main thing that he taught me was about how you can express your attraction earlier, more clearly. It doesn't need to mean everything. It doesn't need to be this like professing everything, but it's just expressing more clearly that you are not just like enjoying to be around them, but actually like physically attracted to them. And it doesn't need to mean everything. And I was like, no. And you go through the series of the dates, and like I actually did it, and it like changed the dynamic. And in all of the other like dates and relationships I had after that, I practiced that. I was like, let me just say it up front, like literally like the first, like very early. And it totally changed all of my whatever, like relationships, dates, whatever after that. Like it was like a game changer, like life changing, really. Like I had gone through like years of so much like angst about friend zone stuff, and then realizing like if I just expressed attraction earlier, all of my problems would have gone away. It was a very sobering realization. Yeah, it was very
So now,
interesting.
if hypothetically the audience wanted to get their hands on a copy of this dating show, where would we find that?
I think if you watch, so there's two versions. There's one, so my friend, his name's Anthony Resinello. You can see his edit of the date on his channel, but he cut out some behind the scenes footage. And if you want to see like the full version, it's on my channel, and you can just probably search like Eric Wen dating show.
Oh, okay. And now, just following on from what we've been talking about in this interview about you identifying personal feelings and struggling to do so sometimes, how do you even know that you like someone in that capacity? And how obvious is it to you? And how long does it take you to realize that? Because that's obviously a very personal feeling.
Oh, I'll know. I like someone pretty fast. I don't even know if that's a personality thing. That's maybe just a guy thing. But I mean,
is it based on attraction mostly?
Well, I mean, it's really just like how much you want to spend time with someone, right? That's a pretty big clue, usually. Sorry, what's the question? When do I know? How do I know? Do I know?
Well, like how do you know? Because like how much you want to spend time with someone for sure, but I want to spend time with a lot of people, you know.
Oh, that's interesting.
So for me, that's not a tell for me. Like,
fair enough. I think. I mean, yeah, it's just the attraction component of it, and then like physically attraction component, but then wanting to spend time with someone. And then I think also with INTPs, I think other people do it, but like there's sort of this like analysis of like how much capacity, like how much you want to connect with people. Like it's like, okay, this is a friendship dynamic that makes sense for 15 minutes. This one makes sense for 2 hours. This one, I would go on a trip with them, but I wouldn't want to spend time with them longer. Or like this one is whatever. So then what you'll find with that special person is like unlimited time, or like I don't know what that limit is. I want to get to know them a little bit, you know, more and more and more. Yeah. So
yeah. So how do you know? So obviously attraction probably is a little bit more easy to identify, but how do you know when you're like, and if this is too personal, don't have to answer it. How do you know when you're in love? What does that feel like? Or how do you identify that phenomenon as an INTP?
Again, like I think the older you get, the more in touch with your feelings you get. But I mean, I think that just with everyone, your idea of what love actually means also evolves with age. So for me, what that means is really getting to know yourself more and what things are important to you. And then the more you calibrate with that, the more you make better choices with your friendships and your relationships. And then the more you get to know that, the more you're like, wow, this person really aligns on the important things. This person is really life-giving in the important things. So I think that's...
The more Love is Blind episodes you watch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's at least for me, my sort of like what that calibration process looks like is like, am I liking this person for good reasons or bad reasons? And then like really like analyzing and like calibrating that, like, oh, I've made some mistakes before because I like these people because of this, but that actually turned out to just be an idea or a concept. And then what's actually important to me is this. Oh, wow, that person is like checking all those boxes and like really, honestly, they're surprising me with categories I didn't even know that I was looking for. You know, that could create that like in love feeling.
Oh, there we go. Very analytical.
I guess, yeah.
I love it. Yeah. That would obviously depend on your definition of love. I think for a lot of FI users, it would be very much a feeling. I thought it was a feeling for so long, like being in love with someone, but it is not merely a feeling. Took me a while to learn that.
Yeah, I don't know. I like clearly, it's not like I don't have feelings for the other person, but I think in terms of like figuring it out, it usually comes from a little bit more of a, why am I feeling this way?
Yeah, good. And I think it should be that way for everyone as well. Like for me, it also got to a point where I had to be like, okay, what is love? Like, what am I feeling? You know, let me think logically, can I build a life with this person? And, you know, that kind of thing. So we've only got a few more questions. Did you initially mistype yourself? If so, what type and why?
I wouldn't say I mistyped myself, but I would say that when I was on, like, I was introduced in high school to the online tests, or the test, and I think I got like ISTJ, but like the S and N were like literally exactly in the middle, and the J and P were exactly in the middle. And then I loved the framework and just loved troubleshooting and figuring out the letters for other people, but with myself it was always like a little bit like unsure. And then in early college when I took the test again, I kept getting like INTJ or INFP, and I would like read both of them like back and forth and be like, it's something in between these two, like there's some, can I be both or something, like what's going on here? And someone like a counselor or something, like a career counselor, was like, no, when you actually find your best fit type, it'll like make sense.
Yeah, the counselor's like, no, you're not an F.
Yeah, but something just seemed off about INTJ as well. And then 2 years later, when I took the test, it came INTP, and I was like, wait, what? Why did I not think this was it before? Like this just, like it just makes sense. And then when I learned about functions, it was like even more like, how could I have been even thinking I was a different one? But in retrospect, I think it was just meeting more people and getting to know myself better and seeing myself in different contexts. It really took time to answer the questions more accurately or understand what they're actually talking about.
Yeah, I think a lack of understanding of what those questions are actually asking leads to a lot of mistyping, for sure.
Yeah.
Are INTP stereotypes overblown? Are any INTP stereotypes overblown, such as being socially inept, pure nerd, etc.? I mean, all stereotypes are overblown in the community.
Yeah, all stereotypes get taken a little too far, but sometimes you might see little flavors or little elements of truth in them too. Mm-hmm. I think it's always just like, it's just not showing the full side of the, like, it's not just not the full story, right? It's like, I would consider myself like definitely like sort of socially inept at certain things, but like, or like definitely before, but then like if an INTP sets their mind to like practicing or like messing up a lot with different relationships or learning from, whatever, learning from people, they're going to improve. Yeah, I get maybe, actually, this has just popped in my head, maybe some of those stereotypes could be true if it's like an INTP that doesn't work on themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's the case for a lot of the stereotypes.
Right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the socially inept thing, I've never found, you have always been to me one of the most easy people to talk to. Like from our first chat, which went longer than I thought it was going to go. I was like, this is such an enjoyable conversation. And yeah, I wonder, I feel like I have your full attention and I feel like I have your full brain switched on, and I feel like you just naturally, you actually do, like, you laugh at my jokes, like you know the right thing to say. You actually also know little moments to like use that emotionally validating language when we've had the more personal chats. And I wonder how that would be in a social situation, like if you and I were in a social situation.
Oh, it'd
probably
be
great. It'd be great, but it'd probably be so different. You'd be like, wow, Kristen's chaotic, because I would be jumping around. And my introverted friends have often said, like, yeah, I don't even see you at social events because I'm like jumping around looking for the newest thing.
Interesting.
And
I probably would look at you and be like, oh yeah, he's more reserved in this scenario.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. The thing is, yeah, I mean, with FE, it doesn't matter if you have FE inferior. There's a certain element where you're going to think about like what are these like almost like an algorithm of like how you can like fit in, like connect with people better, because you like connecting. So like what makes people feel different ways, and being more conscious or aware of that. It does help that my dad is an ESFJ, so I've had like some role modeling, I guess, of like what a lot of FE could look like. But I appreciate you saying that. That means a lot. That's really nice of you to say.
So how much do you think your dad's, because yeah, having a dad as an ESFJ, that FE would have been on display big time for most of your life. Do you think that's quite a large factor in why you are as, I don't know, like, what's the word I would use? Just like competent at, I don't know. I feel like you've definitely caught a lot of social cues when I've been in chats with you.
Oh.
Even over the internet.
I think some of that's from that. My mom's also an INFP, so feeler dom awareness, Again, like a lot of what you're seeing though, it's not always natural. It's like something that's like taken time and practice. So it's not like it's come from a lot of mistakes. It's come from people telling me like, hey, like I really feel like you're not listening because you're doing this or doing this, and so or yeah, you're not being present. So finding ways to like work on that. I don't know. I don't think I think it's like just practice.
Yeah, fair enough. And this is the final question from the followers. Outside of MBTI, what personality system has been your favorite, if any? You don't have to choose one if you don't want to.
It's not really personality system, but I think that the love languages one is pretty useful.
Nice. It's a good one.
I think I try to pick apart any of the frameworks that I encounter to see if they're like actually make sense or hold up if you like pull them apart. And but yeah, love languages is one of those ones that just keeps coming back and being like, this is really, it's very simple, but it's very useful actually.
What are your love languages, if you don't mind sharing, and do you think you can draw a commonality between INTPs with that? Or do you think yours have anything to do with your type?
For me, it's quality time, words of affirmation, and then also quite a bit of physical touch, I think is what it's called. But I think that's really influenced by, again, like my parents. I know other INTPs where they were raised by like engineering parents or whatever, like very thinker parents, and they don't care nearly as much about those things than I do, or that I would relate to. So
do you feel awkward when you get words of affirmation from people? Like when you get compliments from people, does that make you feel awkward?
No, that's great.
Because I know some TI DOMs who really do feel awkward and not know how to handle.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I mean, yeah, those things that you were saying, it means a lot. It's really nice of you to say.
Yeah, no, for sure. You're a joy to talk to, Eric, always.
So are you, Kristen.
Yeah. But I also feel like you have such a desire to grow and learn about yourself and like be a good person. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what type you are. If you're striving for that and you have a passion for that, I'm always going to get along with you, I feel.
Oh.
But that's not to say that's the only thing. It's like because of who you are as a person as well.
No, I think you're right though. Like that's the thing that people always forget about MBTI is it's not a tool to put people in boxes or stereotype.
100%.
It's actually a tool for growing as a person and understanding your blind spots, not to go, yeah, so this is why I'm like this. It's actually going, no, how can I work on that? And that's also what I see with you and your content and just your values and stuff. And so, yeah, I'll always been able to talk really easily with you.
Thank you. And what a fitting and wholesome place to end the interview, I think.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for having me on.
No, for sure. And thank you for coming on. And thank you for always being there to answer my questions about YouTube analytics when they frustrate me. And for giving me tips on how to be more productive on my channel. And is there anything else you'd like to, I guess, plug or direct people to?
Kristen, I just want to say, I think that the content you do is really creative. It takes, I know what, there's a lot of extra effort and care that you put into your videos. And also, just coming at it from that place of those values, it really makes a difference. And it's you really bring something special to MBTI land on YouTube that I just is really, really special. And also you work really hard. I do a little bit of jumping around based on I don't really feel like it. Or this isn't interesting to me anymore, but you really can grind it out and show up for people in a way that's pretty admirable. So you're doing a lot of really great stuff. And in terms of MBTI teaching, I'm trying to shift to trying to help people bring MBTI type theory to life, and also, as we talked about in this whole conversation, ways to not just learn personality type for fun to justify yourself, but actually to grow as a person. And so what you'll see that on the main channel and on the Think More Deeply channel, just trying to help MBTI make more sense, but also help you improve your connections and relationships.
Great, amazing. And thank you so much for those kind words. You were saying that, I was like, this is not the question I asked, but I will take this, Effie.
It's genuine, I mean it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I mean it. Hey, look, I love to hear it. I am proud of myself for how consistently I've kept the uploads going, not just while being pregnant, but just over this whole period, which is a testament. It's a testament to how even as EPs, because I've been tempted many times to just kind of drop off or not create content for a month or something, but you keep at it, you can keep at it. EPs, EFPs, so let it be known. Great. So everyone, jump over and check out Eric's channel or his second channel if you didn't know that one existed. And Eric, pleasure to have you on. Looking forward to having you on again in the future.
Sounds great.
Bye. All right, it is present day Kristen here. It has been literally almost 2 years since Eric and I filmed that episode, and the irony is not lost on me that the last thing we talked about was how consistent I am with my content, how hard I work, and how I've managed to stay consistent with my uploads during pregnancy. Well, I had the baby and I went through a lot. It was a elongated maternity leave with a lot going on, which I'm sure I'll open up about eventually when I'm ready to. But in the meantime, I am back. It has been 21 months since I gave birth and I am back into content creation. So hence, I finally got around to uploading this episode. If you stuck around to the end, you are a true MVP, so thank you. Thanks for being a champion of the channel.
I'm hoping there'll be some more episodes soon, but as you've come to learn from me, you just can't be sure that that's going to happen. So I'll keep you on your toes. And in the meantime, just have a really wonderful day. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. I certainly enjoyed it because I'd forgotten most of what we talked about. And I was editing it just now and I was like, that was actually a really valuable episode and that was fun to listen to. But I'm not going to take up more of your time because this podcast is already 1 hour and 19 minutes. Until next time, guys, I'll catch ya and you have a great time in whatever you're doing today.